Hey guys, what's up? It's FNAF Crafter 13 here, and welcome back to another video. And in today's video, this is a part 2 of the FNAF movie explained by me. Well, technically my version. So technically, I don't have anything else to say, so let's continue back into the film. So, in the last episode, Vanessa breaks the car outside of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, and Mangle, who was trying to break into the car, goes right through the window and crashes into the pizzeria and deactivates. And Mike shows up, and a technician takes Vanessa's car away, and they all go into Mike's car and head over to Vanessa's house because their house was invaded. Mike's house was invaded by animatronics, and the glasses are broken. And like I said in the very last part, Mangle's eyes go up at saying that she is reactivated. Anyway, let's head over to the new scene. Crickets chirp outside Vanessa's house at a cul-de-sac. They're all sitting in the living room processing what is going on. How are the animatronics after them? I thought that we killed William Afton, and that I thought this was all over. And then that's when Abby finally explains that she went back to the new Freddy's location, and that she must have left the door open and caused the animatronics to get loose. Mike is mad, but he lets it slide. But now knowing that this is the cause of half the town's population, they now learn that they need to stop whatever's going on. In a moment of silence, there's a 25-second scene, a Toy Freddy breaking into Vanessa's neighbor's house, which is a very old couple, as the old couple hides behind the couch, and Toy Freddy goes up to them and kills them off screen. Back at Vanessa's house, they hear the screams coming from next door, so Vanessa grabs her gun, Mike, grabs a weapon, and Abby stays behind Mike, as they all head over to Vanessa's neighbors. So they all walk in, and there's blood everywhere. Abby hides while Mike protects, and doesn't let Abby see what's going on, and Vanessa tells Mike that these bodies, they were thrown against the wall, like how you would throw a football if you were a quarterback. There's blood everywhere, and yeah, there are signs that they were thrown against the wall every which way. So they all head back to Vanessa's house so they can, contact the police because Vanessa works for the police. But as Vanessa is about to grab the radio, they all hear the sound of the garage door creaking. They all head over to the garage, and sure enough, Toy Freddy is opening the garage with one hand. That's when they realize that the animatronics now know where they are at again. So they all leave Vanessa's house and get into Mike's car. They now know they need to go to Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria at the new location with the toy animatronics. And they tell each other to be careful. They see the toy animatronics popping out from each side of Vanessa's house, and so they back out of there and drive to Freddy's. During the car right there, Vanessa explains the story all about this new Freddy's location and the old one that they were dealing with 2 years ago. And during this, there are flashbacks about the child murders, and this thing is bloody, while Vanessa talks in the background. And then they show the famous death of Charlotte Emily, who was killed none other by William Afton, Vanessa's father. She talks into more detail about the animatronics, about who made them, and why they're probably after us. And Vanessa finishes the entire story as soon as they get to the Freddy's location. They all get out of the car, now holding flashlights. Well, except Abby, because, she's a child. They all tell each other to be careful and to stick together. So they all walk in, and they tell each other as they're looking around that all the rest of the toy animatronics were at Vanessa's house, so we maybe got about 20 minutes before they get here and try to look for us now. Okay, so they then walk around the pizzeria holding out the best weapon they could at least have, making sure to check any corner, holding up their weapon in case that there's an animatronic waiting for them around the corner. And as they're exploring, they then open up a supply closet, and Abby trips over a leg of a person, and as she sits up, she screams in terror as she sees that the thing she tripped on was a dead body. Mike immediately takes her away from the dead body. As Vanessa shines her flashlight, there is 4 and 5 others. But there's more bodies than that. There's probably like 10 in here. Reminder, some of the people in town disappeared, but the rest were found dead brutally at different locations in town. But there's 5 bodies that resemble teenagers, 17-year-olds or 16-year-olds. That's what Vanessa says. Oh my gosh. These were in the paper. 5 teenagers gone missing, last seen at Faz Fest, leaving to go home. Then they realized that these kids tried to walk into Freddy's, but they were obviously walking into their own doom. And the rest of the bodies, they were just some random town folk who are dismembered and bitten in random disgusting ways. It's pretty obvious that some of the animatronics brought these here for feeding time, which makes Mike shiver. They all leave the closet as Vanessa feels like she's about to vomit. So they figure out that, yeah, they brought the animatronics here. No, that they brought dead bodies here to obviously feed, which is disgusting. They then make it to the security office, and they look around the room. There's lockers, there's a desk with camera monitors, which gets Mike deja vu as he remembers his job from working security at the old location. The cameras, monitors, the whole switching thing, and there's one thing that catches Mike's attention: a Freddy mask. And of course, Vanessa tells Mike that mask was obviously used that the toy animatronics moved, and to make sure that they don't kill you, the night guard would cover up themselves with the Freddy mask to make it seem like you were one of them. Which is weird, they didn't have it at the old location, but whatever. They leave the security office, and they eventually get to one simple door that's none other than labeled Parts and Service. Vanessa opens it carefully, and she shines her light into it, and she gasps as she sees none other than the withered animatronics. Not just any other withered animatronics, the animatronics from the old location. Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Chica. Abby asks, why are they doing here, and why aren't they at the old location? And Vanessa says, someone obviously went to the old location and brought the old ones here. But who would have brought them? Mike then says, well, it's obvious that someone came here and brought them to the other location, because as the other location, it's also abandoned, which means someone had to desert the place. And Abby then cuts off Mike, saying, and did they find your counselor, Mike? You know, the one that got impaled by those spring locks that look like crab claws? Vanessa and Mike look at Abby in shock as they probably didn't even know that they probably didn't even know Abby was watching the spring lock failure. Mike nods and tells her that yes, and they're also confused. Like, well, they had to find the body, and they obviously had to got rid of it, right? They shrug and continue looking at the withered animatronics, as that's why they were there. So they take a couple more looks at the animatronics. They look at them. They smell like bodies, obviously, because the souls are in them, and the bodies are too. So they leave the room, and Abby leaves the door slightly open. She can't figure out why, but she does that. They continue searching through the pizzeria until they hear the sound of something hitting the floor coming from that same supply closet, the one they found the bodies in. They slowly walk in and they open it, but it's not actually anything too dramatic. It turns out that something that was on a shelf fell off, and it's a video camera. Mike picks it up and looks through the footage, and sure enough, it shows the 5 teenagers that were outside Freddy's, the ones that saw that Abby left from, go into the restaurant and explore the place, and they watch as the camera guy gets killed by Mangle. And Mangle drops the body, which causes the camera to also drop from the ceiling. Then they show McKenna Grace walking up to the body and screaming terror as she tries to run away. But then that's when everyone sees and makes the blood drain from their face. A robotic yellow rabbit arm comes out of a doorway from the ground, pulls out a knife to trip McKenna, and McKenna slices her Achilles, and she falls to the ground. And then a minute later, Vanessa and Mike and Abby watch as this ginormous yellow rabbit, who looks like a corpse, obviously, kill this young teenager. And as McKenna dies, the yellow rabbit says in a hoarsely, demonic, male, gruff voice, he says, "You shouldn't have came onto my property." He then takes a couple steps over to the camera and shows his face. Springtrap. Vanessa can't take it anymore and closes the camera because it's her father. And now they're all devastated and shocked, knowing that William Afton is back. "How is that possible?" Mike says in shock. "I don't know, but we saw him get killed, right, guys?" Abby says, worried. "I don't know, guys. I don't know. Vanessa says, obviously just shaken up, that her father, her abusive father, is back. This doesn't make any sense. Mike mutters to himself. They put the camera down on the table, and Vanessa and Abby leave the room, and as Mike sets down the camera, Mike is confused and shocked. The camera was obviously placed on the table in this room, even though the camera clearly fell when that boy who got killed by Mangle died, which obviously means the yellow rabbit from the tape came by and stole the camera and put the camera in here and put the bodies in here too. So this all means one thing: William Afton has to be inside the building. But they walked around the entire place, so how is that possible? So they all do one more sweep of the pizzeria, but they know that each passing minute comes closer to the toy animatronics getting closer to the pizzeria. Remember, they were last seen at Vanessa's house as they drove away. So, when a couple minutes passed, they hide underneath a table near the corner. And sure enough, the doors break open, and here comes the toy animatronics. Toy Freddy first, Toy Chica second, Toy Bonnie third, and Mangle last. Abby huddles near Mike as their siblings, and Vanessa just watches with a mouth over her, which is a hand over her mouth, in shock. The animatronics come in, and they go onto the stage, and they go back to how they were before they woke up. But then a couple minutes later, it's like something reactivates them, and they come off stage, and it's like they're looking for them again. Like they know that they're there. "Crap," Mike says to himself as he whispers. "How are we gonna get out of here now?" Vanessa then whispers to him, saying, "Well, we can't leave. We can't leave them be like this, because they're just gonna go out and kill more people again. We have to actually full-on stop these robots." Abby nods. "Yes, and I don't want them to kill more innocent people. And I don't want them to kill my friends." Mike says, "Well, how are we going to stop them? We don't even have our weapons, and I think we left our weapons back in the office." They all sigh to themselves as they realize that they don't know what to do. So maybe a couple minutes, they all just sit there, keeping guard as the animatronics walk around the pizzeria looking for their next victims. And one of them quietly alerts the other when an animatronic gets a little close but then turns the other direction. And it's like that for a while, and it's gotten to the point where Mike checks his watch, and it's gone to the point where it's 3 a.m. And Abby is full on asleep, but she is kind of shaking knowing that they could be attacked at any minute now. They all quietly just look at each other saying, screw it, let's just do this. So Mike grabs a table chair while Abby hides behind Mike, while Vanessa grabs a chair leg, or just a giant chair, and they come out of hiding and the animatronics get alert. Hey, you giant furries! Mike yells at the robot. We're over here! Come and get us! And over the course of maybe a couple minutes, Mike and Vanessa are throwing around the pizzeria as they try to fight these animatronics. Toy Bonnie throws Vanessa against a prize counter, which causes the glass to break, which causes the glass to then come down on Vanessa, which results in Vanessa getting, impaled by glass shards everywhere. And she slowly gets up. And Mike is thrown by Toy Chica to a Showtime button, which just makes the situation worse, which causes a bunch of colored flashing lights to go everywhere. Now the mood is devastating and scary, while Abby hides right next to a blue box wrapped in purple ribbon in the arcade. She just stays there quietly, making sure that the animatronics don't find her and that Vanessa and Mike are okay. But then, a couple seconds of being there, she hears a little lullaby coming from inside the music box, like a song. She slowly gets up and looks over at the box, and the box suddenly opens, and there's these two long black hands, and they come out of the box, and along with that, there's a full-on puppet. A full-on puppet inside this box. Abby is shocked. And then the puppet then speaks and says, I called you here. That's when Abby connects the dots. It turns out this whole thing with the fast talker from the Fast Fest, the puppet was actually the one that was talking to Abby through the toy. And that's what brought her to the location. You brought me here? Mike. No, Abby whispers softly. The puppet nods. Abby and this puppet talk about what's going on, and Abby then asks, how are you talking to me? That's when the puppet reveals something truly disturbing and might be surprising and probably even be happy to some of the movie fans. The puppet tells Abby that I'm your brother that you never really got to meet. Abby is shocked. Abby then whispers softly, Garrett? Is that you? A moment of silence echoes, no, but not really, but the occasional loud metallic footsteps coming from the dining room as Vanessa and Mike are still trying to defend themselves. The puppet then nods slowly, and Abby is just shocked. Abby and her brother, Garrett, which is now the puppet, talk for a little bit. And that's when the puppet says 3 words. He is here. Abby's getting ready to ask, what do you mean? Who is he? Until a loud bang comes from the dining room. Abby gets startled and rushes into the dining room. But it turns out the whole fight with the animatronics along with her brother and Vanessa was not the sound. The sound came from the dining room lobby doors. And standing in the lobby room doors was the yellow rabbit from the Tape and Springtrap. No, there was no 2 rabbits, but it was just Springtrap. William Afton, because they're the same thing. Springtrap enters the lobby as Mike stares at the animatronic in shock, while Vanessa just watches with trembling hands. Afton pulls out a knife and says in a dark voice, Welcome back. Are you ready to start the show? Abby rushes over to her brother as they all huddle together as the yellow rabbit just walks around them telling everything, taunting them, taunting Abby about how she'll never have any friends, taunting Vanessa of how saying that she was a bad daughter and calling her really bad names, and even worse, telling Mike that his brother is gone and that he's just a stupid young boy who is too easy to kill. That infuriates Mike, who just wants to just run at William Afton and just destroy him. But Vanessa holds him back, just telling him that, what are you doing? He's stronger than you. So they all just take these threats, and it's just getting worse, and it just gets more worse. The toy animatronics stand behind Afton as Afton continues trying to attack them, but not really attacking them. He's just circling around them like a predator hunting its prey. And this whole thing goes on for quite a while until, as Afton is about to attack, another bang comes from the darkness, and they all turn, and sure enough, coming from an empty employees and parts and service room is the withered animatronics. They've been activated, and they do not like the fact that William Afton is back from the dead. So, over the course of 10 minutes, the wizards, the toys, and Springtrap have a full-on battle, which will remind some viewers from the Toys vs. Withered SFM animation videos, but it's not exactly that. It's full of robotic sounds, robotic ink, and lots of things going on, while Springtrap and Mike and Vanessa fight to the death, and eventually, Springtrap is down as another set of spring locks go off. Blood goes everywhere, and even worse, one of the animatronic circuits, as Toy Chica's arm, is flown off, and it hits the ground, which causes an electrical fire, and the fire quickly engulfs the dining room. They all grab each other, Mike, Vanessa, and Abby, and they run out of the pizzeria. They're slightly injured. Vanessa has scratches all over her body, while Mike just has a bruised face. Well, Abby just has a simple scratch on her pinky, and they all make it out of the pizzeria just in time to see the pizzeria being engulfed in flames and exploding into debris. It then the screen goes to black as it shows Vanessa, Mike, and Abby watching the burning building. Then a voiceover of Vanessa, Mike, Abby, who you want it to be, I don't care, doing a voiceover about what happened this couple weeks. So, this is what happened. So, the pizzeria burned down to the ground, leaving nothing but debris. The animatronics were obviously destroyed, and they clean out the place a couple weeks later. But then, they leave one thing intact. The purple box with the puppet inside. Well, not technically the puppet anymore. Garrett. But Mike doesn't know yet. So, one day, after Mike and Vanessa are bandaged, they head over back to Freddy's because Abby wants to show him a surprise. They get to the debris, and Mike is confused, asking, "Why are we back here again? Tell me you did not just come back here so you can get like a little Freddy Fazbear plush." Then Abby shakes her head. "No, it's something even better. You're gonna love it, man." That's when they get over to the blue box and purple ribbon, which is the only thing that didn't get burned in the fire. It was almost weird. So they get over to the box, and Abby opens it with easy hands, and she pulls the puppet out and hands it to Mike. Mike is just confused, but as soon as the puppet turns on, it whispers, "Mike?" in Garrett's voice. And Mike immediately has shaking hands. And he's shocked of how this puppet learns his brother's voice. But then he looks at Abby, as Abby calmly tells him, "It's Garrett, Mike. It's really him." So Mike and the puppet have a couple moments together as they hug while Mike cries, which is Abby hasn't seen in a long time. she's never seen him cry before. And Mike tells Vanessa and Abby that I found him. I really found him. So they take the puppet and leave the box behind. They head back in Mike's car, Mike in the driver's seat, Vanessa in the passenger seat, and Abby in the way back. They all smiled at each other as Abby holds the puppet like brother and sister. The shot goes from puppet to the shot of Mike's car leaving the parking lot, and the screen cuts to black with some sad music. And then, do you know what you hear at the very end of the black screen part? Yep, that's right. It's been so long, but the living tombstone plays at the very end of the credits. And I don't really have a end credits scene. I don't really have an idea. But if you want an idea, let me know in the comments down below. But anyway, guys, that was my version of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie 2. My version of how I thought the movie would go. Besides, this is just my opinion. This is just what I thought of what the film was going to be like. Don't yell at me in the comments. This is only my opinion, so hopefully you'll enjoy mine. And I'm pretty sure you have tons of questions, which I'll be able to answer in the comments. And yes, I'll answer some right here. So yes, I'm going to say like later between the events of FNAF 2 and FNAF 3, which is the FNAF movie 3 is confirmed, we just don't have a release date. They later find out, Mike, Vanessa, and Abby, they eventually find out that there's another soul in the puppet as well, as Garrett reveals to them that he's made a new friend, Charlotte, but he calls her Charlie as a nickname. And it's revealed, or maybe that could be the end credits part. Mike, Abby, and Vanessa are sitting at Mike's house just talking to Garrett until Garrett suddenly reveals, hey, I made a new friend, and then realizes that it's Charlie Emily. That would be a really cool, funny end credits scene. Or maybe just something dark, and everyone will applaud. And for some questions, yes. What about the people who died at Freddy's? Well, the police and fire department found them, and they told the family members, and they held an entire funeral service to the families and to the people who lost their lives due to these robots. And they buried the bodies, and it's devastating. And Mike, Vanessa, and Abby go to pay their respects, and some people praise them because they found the bodies. And of course, Mike, Abby, and Vanessa lied to the police, saying that Abby was kidnapped by a robber or an intruder and was held for ransom at the location. So Mike and Vanessa went there to save Abby, but to try to kill them, the robber and intruder escaped and tried to kill them by burning down the place, but they managed to escape. And as for the injuries on some of them, they said that was just the intruder trying to injure them. And the police believe them, because of course no one's going to believe them when they say that they were attacked by animatronics. So anyway, guys, that's all the questions I can answer for today's video. Hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. We only have maybe like 2 days until the official trailer gets released, and I hope y'all watch the trailer when it comes out, and I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye. Oh, okay, my voice. Oh gosh, I never talked for this long before. Sorry. Okay, well, I'm going to go take a water break, so hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye. So, like I said in the beginning of the last video, I said that Abby had a science fair at her middle school, but she didn't know what to bring, and I totally forgot about it, because, I don't know. But what did Abby bring to the science fair? Yes, you guessed it, the puppet. And of course, Garrett doesn't talk, but he plays like a robotic, fun voice saying like, hello, I'm the Midnight Aunt. I'm coming here to be your friend. Nice to meet you all. And that's what Abby brings to the science fair. And good news, she actually wins first prize as another end credits scene. Alright, well, alright. Anyway, guys, hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.